Welcome to Sustainable Living Podcast. As you may know, Volvo Trucks is a Swedish company that has been at the forefront of the transportation industry for over 90 years. But what you may not know is that Volvo Trucks has been also a leader in sustainability, with a strong commitment to reducing its environmental impact and building a more sustainable future. Volvo Trucks is dedicated to driving sustainable change in the transportation industry. And we are very excited to have Mia Edofsson, Global Sustainability Director, here with us today to discuss the company's sustainability journey and vision for the future. Welcome, Mia.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So let's dive into the conversation and learn more about Volvo Trucks and how it's paving the way for sustainable transportation. So my first question is, what inspired Volvo Trucks to prioritize sustainability, and what specific action has the company taken to reduce its environmental impact?
Oh, that's a really exciting question, I would say. And, our core values has since the start, 1972, been safety, environment, and quality. So it's been a part of our heritage for a long time. And being a transport provider, we know that we are a part of this problem, the sustainability problem, but we are also determined to be part of the solution. And I really like to see the transport as a bloodstream of a society, connecting people and creating prosperity around the world. We believe that it's our responsibility to continuously drive this development of transport in a more sustainable direction. But looking at our products and our business, the vast majority of our climate impact is generated by the trucks during their operations connected to the fuel that they use. And this is why energy efficiency of the vehicle, as well as use of the alternative fuels, is very important. And since the start, we have reduced emissions of air pollutants from our trucks with up to 90%, and also decreased the fuel consumption and CO2 emissions by somewhere around 40%. So this is, of course, really good achievements, I would say. And we have also been working quite hard with reducing the emissions from our own operations, to reduce the energy need and also to convert to renewable sources. And we actually opened the world's first CO2 neutral plant already in 2007, which was really, really early. So it's been part of our heritage. It's been with us for a very long time. And I would say that we have contributed also for a long time now.
Can you give us any example of sustainability initiatives? You already mentioned the vision and some of the big projects that you have in mind, but focusing on the local communities now, can you give us some example of such a project that impacted the local community somewhere around Europe or in Sweden, for example? Why not?
Well, we have as you understand, we have a really strong brand image connected to sustainability. And we also understand that we are perceived as having a high credibility when it comes to sustainability. And this also gives us a responsibility to act outside our company, to be a part of the society. And one of the really strong programs that I would like to mention is our Iron Women program. And this is very much part of the society, since we see that we have a great lack of drivers in the trucking industry in general. And this industry also being very, very male-dominated. So the Iron Women program aims to attract more women to join this transport sector. We started it actually not in Europe, but in Peru, 2015, and have since then educated close to 300 women to become truck drivers in several markets around the world. And during this spring now, we will actually deploy this program also in France. And the program includes driver training. It includes getting the driver's license, which is, of course, vital, and an internship. And in the end, hopefully getting a job with Volvo Trucks partners. And we see this program as being very successful, and we have some really, really strong success stories. But it's also a way for us to contribute in the greater good. And I'm super proud around this program. So I'm really looking forward to expanding this to more markets going forward.
It's really an advantage that being such a global company, you can inspire communities around the world. And also interesting to see how Volvo Trucks ensure that sustainability is integrated into all aspects of the company's operation and decision-making process. I imagine that this is the starting point where these projects arise. So
Yes.
how does Volvo Trucks ensure that sustainability is integrated into all aspects of the company's decision-making?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, because just this integration, I would say, is really central to the success story. And in 2019, 2020, Volvo Trucks adopted a sustainability strategy that is deeply embedded and present, I would say, in the business strategy. And the strategy is formed around 3 pillars, we call them. Climate is one of them, resources is one, and people, the people side, is one. And this work really forms the basis for our decisions, and it's a guiding star for our priorities. And the 3 pillars also enable us to engage with the whole company. So it's broken down to be made relevant for each market and to meet also each market's unique situation, and that creates accountability. So this strategy is also closely monitored, and the targets are followed up by the highest management that we have, and also throughout the organization. And the mindset here is that everyone should know and understand the rationales for the strategy, why we have it, and why is it so important, but also to be really encouraged to walk the extra mile to be able to contribute. And for me, this is really key, because we cannot have a few stakeholders working with sustainability. Everyone needs to be on the train. So that is why it's so important with this engagement part.
So I'm curious to know more about the challenges you face in trying to achieve sustainability goals, because it's clear that internal aspects are one point of this main project. But let's see about, in your opinion, what are the most pressing sustainability challenges facing the transportation industry today, and how can companies like Volvo Trucks help address these challenges?
That's a good question. And if I had to pick one sustainability challenge, it's no doubt that I would pick the climate impact problem or challenge that we have in our business. And therefore, we need to consider how to reduce the climate impact and how to respect the world's limited resources in all our actions, I would say. So Volvo and Volvo Trucks have since 2019 committed to the Paris Accord, the Paris Agreement. And we also have set science-based targets for our operations, which means that all transportation need to be fossil-free by 2050. So this is a huge task to take on. And being fossil-free by 2050 means that since it takes approximately around 10 years for our running fleet to be renewed, we have set targets to only sell products propelled by carbon-neutral alternatives by 2040 at the very latest. So we really need to hurry to get this happening. And to do this, we have identified 3 main technologies that will help us to reach this goal. We have the battery electric vehicles, we have fuel cell electric vehicles coming up, and combustion engines that will run then, of course, on renewable fuels. And the exact share between these technologies are still to be seen, because there is no silver bullet. We need to work on all levers. And we have to offer different solutions, of course, for different needs. But what we can see today, and this is really important, that we have really broad range of vehicles that are electrified today, and it covers almost every transport need, from distribution to refuse to construction and regional transports, etc. And this is our way to contribute to make things happen, to really push nation. And we need to work together with the customers on this to raise the knowledge on what is possible, because it's always hard to do this shift alone and to understand why you should be part of the transformation. So we need to be good at explaining how our vehicles can enable our customers to contribute to a more sustainable world. And as I said, we cannot do this alone, of course, and we need to collaborate to bring the speed of the transformation up. And this we need to do together with our customers.
You mentioned that you are you mentioned the speed of the transformation, and I'm very interested to know what are your focus, what are your plans when we are talking about the supply chain, and how does Volvo Trucks work with its suppliers and partners to ensure that sustainability is a shared priority through the supply chain?
Well, first and outmost, I would like to start with to say that our ambition is always to do business in a fair and ethical and of course transparent way, and that we believe that showing respect for human rights is the basis for any sustainable business. And the supply chain is, of course, an integral part, a role for us to succeed in our mission. And we expect our supply partners to work with us on this and also to work with us according to our code of conduct, and also spreading this towards their suppliers in turn. So we are working with them very closely. We are working in partnership, and we are clear on our demands on the supply chain, and setting the scene on why is it so important to do this, and how can we collaborate around this, because it's really hard. It's long value chains going up in the supplies. So it's really a matter of working together rather than only setting hard targets that are not expressed or described why we should do it. So in that sense, we are working closely with the suppliers, but also encouraging our suppliers in their turn to work with their to move this further on. So that is our chore.
Can you give us any notable successes or challenges that Volvo Trucks has experienced in its sustainability journey thus far, and how this experience have transformed the company's ongoing efforts, because it's a dynamic process?
Yes, it really is. Well, I've already mentioned the extensive lineup of our electric vehicles, and this large share of market that we have. I think we have somewhere around 30% in Europe and more than 50% of the electric lineup or electric market in the US. But this is really only the beginning. As a society, we need to cooperate to make this shift towards net zero happens, because it involves everyone. And therefore, we as a group, the Volvo Group, have teamed up with several partners to share insights and make great efforts to make this shift happen. And in 2021, we went into the First Movers Coalition. And this is really worth mentioning, I would say, because this is a platform. It's a platform for companies to make purchasing commitments that creates demands for low carbon technologies. And Volvo Group joined in 2021, yes, it was, as a founding member. And one of the initiatives here, just to mention a few, is the fossil-free steel, where we collaborate with SSAB, another Swedish company, to drive the developments towards a steel with heavily reduced CO2 footprint. And this is, of course, one part of the journey where we collaborate in order to push the technology forward. And to push the technology forward can only be made by showing purchase power, that someone will really need and want to purchase the goods that you produce. So this is a collaboration which is really, really interesting. And now we are the first truck manufacturer in the world to actually introduce this fossil-free steel in our electric trucks. It's still a small-scale introduction, but we foresee that it will grow going forward. But I would say that without a dedicated buyer for this type of material, it would not have happened. So it's really important that you express your purchase power in order to give confidence in the industry to do this shift.
It has to do with the role of the customers are playing in the driving sustainability. So how do Volvo Trucks engage with its customers around sustainability?
This is a really good question, because as I started out, the customers they are a vital part in the transformation. And again, the vast majority of our climate footprint comes from the use phase of the truck. So the CO2 from the use phase needs to be eliminated to support the sustainable future. And therefore, customer needs to be a part of this shift. And why is it so? Well, it's not only the vehicle's performance as such, because the total performance of the transportation is reliant on how the vehicle is used, how efficient the driver is, how efficient the transport we have is, how we are loading goods and striving to make transportation chains much more optimized. So the message I would say here is kind of clear. We need to do everything that is in our power to improve, connected to the products. But we also need to work closely with our customers, with the drivers, with the energy companies, with the charging facilities and the charging companies, with the governments, with cities, and the legislators. So this is a super complex area and really needs our fullest attention to get forward.
So, Mia, what advice do you have for other companies looking to make sustainability a core part of their business strategy and operations? Because you are an experienced sustainability global manager, and I think it will be very interesting to see your vision on this.
I'm glad you asked this question, because for me this is really core to success. And I've been working with long-term strategies within sustainability, both at Volvo Trucks, but also other companies. And I see that working with such a complex area as sustainability, one need both commitment, but also understanding on the why. So that is really important. And when I say with understanding, I really mean to look upon your own operation and do the assessment to understand where do you have your biggest contributors to climate? Where do you have the largest losses of material? Where do you have your biggest risks in your value chain and opportunities? So to do your homework, so to say, and do it close to your heart, so you really understand your own business. And the other part here is to ensure the commitment, not only in the top management team, but within the whole organization. And I really believe that this is key, to take the ownership of the strategies, to make them alive in the organization, so that each and every one, when you ask them, can give you the answer on why we are doing this. And foster culture where the employees really want to contribute, but also can understand how to contribute. And maybe the most important part, really celebrate your employees for contributing, to be, celebrating it out loud, talking out loud about the good things that is happening, and building a culture around sustainability and trust. This is, for me, the recipe for a sustainable company success.
Thank you, Mia Edofsson and Volvo Trucks, for your leadership and dedication to sustainability. And we look forward to continuing the conversation and learning more about the initiative solutions that you are developing in the world of sustainability. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.